Topping today's news, Bahamas Power and Light apologizes to residents of Eleuthera concerning power woes. Kobe Davis defends her ministerial record against the F&M chairman. Police charge suspects involved with 2 recent murders, and we get an update on the Prime Minister's recovery following surgery. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jerino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News, and it is a pleasure to have you join us. For the past few years, residents on Eleuthera and Harbour Island have experienced frequent power outages multiple times per day, and at times up to 4 hours at a time. This in addition to water supply challenges on the island. But in recent months, things have gotten even worse, and residents, second homeowners, business owners, and investors are saying they have had enough. They say the electricity and water issues are having a negative impact on their businesses and their quality of life. Well, today, at the Office of the Prime Minister, the weekly press briefing was held where Chief Operating Officer of Bahamas Power and Light, Tony Cartwright Seymour, says many of those power issues are unforeseen and they do their best to tackle them whenever they arise.
And I want to start firstly by apologizing to our residents in Eleuthera who have been experiencing generation challenges over the past few weeks and months, and to reassure you and the residents of Eleuthera that BPL continues to aggressively pursue all available measures to stabilize power generation and distribution on the island. To understand the challenges in Eleuthera, we have to put the island's unique makeup into perspective. Eleuthera is one of 2 islands where we operate 3 separate power stations. Moreover, the more than 110-mile-long coverage area provides challenges for our distribution service teams. Most of the outages customers experience in Eleuthera are outside of BPL's control. We've had weather disturbances, traffic accidents, construction damage, and even wildlife have contributed to some of the events.
As Eleuthera has always been a major hub for investments and visitor arrivals, Mrs. Cartwright Seymour says in recent times there has also been more demand on the power supply, or more demand for power supply, which has been putting a strain on existing generators. She says they have strategized a solution to fix these issues.
We have accepted that Eleuthera is one of our booming population centers, spurred on by major investment projects. While great for the economy, it also means a growing load demand that we are playing catch-up to address. Similarly, as with much of BPL's infrastructure throughout the country, it is aged and desperately needs to be replaced. We've spoken about the challenges before, but what's important for our customers in Eleuthera and Harbour Island to know is that we are working. In terms of our short-term solutions, we plan to install an additional 5 megawatts of generation at our Rock Sound power station to increase reliability of what is considered to be an aging plant. 6 megawatts of rental generation in Hatchet Bay at the Hatchet Bay power station. And we are also upgrading the subsea cable between the mainland Eleuthera and Harbour Island.
Mrs. Cartwright Seymour says Bahamas Power and Light expects to have more than 15 megawatts of additional generation capacity for Eleuthera. She said the upgrades are expected to be completed before the end of September. Meanwhile, there is no denying that tension levels are high at Bahamas Power and Light in the wake of the new deal between the government of the Bahamas and Pike Corporation to transfer transmission and distribution responsibilities to Island Grid Solutions for upgrades to the electricity grid. The line staff, who are a part of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, the BEWU, and the managerial union at BPL have both complained that they have not been properly consulted or informed of the government's plans, only to be told that their industrial agreements will be honored and opportunities made available to them. Also today, while at the Office of the Prime Minister, Tony Seymour, the Chief Operations Officer at BPL, she was asked about the current relationship between the executives at BPL and those unions.
I would say presently industrial relations between the executives and the unions are stable. We meet with both unions regularly as it relates to the reform and the integration of Pike. Those discussions are being held at a governmental level, And Minister Colby Davis, I think, issued a press release recently as to how that framework will look. So unions are also meeting with her and Prime Minister Davis to iron out whatever those particular industrial relation matters are at this time.
BPL unions have been quiet since their press conference about 2 weeks ago, warning the government that they are prepared to take industrial action if their concerns are not met. Minister of Energy, Jobeth Kobe Davis, while on a local talk show, said while the government has been in communication with the unions, there could always be more communication as it relates to the new comprehensive energy reforms the government has undertaken. While members of Parliament may be on summer break until September 18th, Free National Movement Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands is not taking time off from attacking the government over its performance. Earlier this week, in a voice message posted on the FNM's Facebook page, Dr. Sands says the PLP seems to be in chaos as cabinet members publicly disagree on various matters like the proposed water park at the Nassau Cruise Port. He was also critical of the Minister of Energy and Transport, Jobeth Kobe Davis.
The gift that keeps on giving, Jobeth Colby Davis, the Minister of Energy and Transport, who has been a singular and major failure and disaster. She handed out hundreds of taxi plates without proper procedures. She can't even fix basic problems like printing license plates. She's still keeping most of the details about the proposed deal of BPL secret from the workers and the Bahamian people and all the unions. Today, Bahamians know there's so much violence and trouble in the Bahamas. More and more murders. High prices for everything from food to light to insurance. The PLP ain't even trying anymore to pretend like they governing or solving problems. The role of the Prime Minister in our system is to coordinate his ministers to help the Bahamian people.
While speaking at a recent PLP Women's Branch meeting, Minister Kobe Davis emphatically defended her ministerial record and her work under the guidance of Prime Minister Philip Davis.
I have a job that the Prime Minister, my colleagues, the constituents of Elizabeth, and the Bahamian people expect me to carry out. And my success in this role brings success to every family. So this is serious for me. Serious business. And it's a priority of mine to make sure every role that the Prime Minister has given me, I took it very seriously. Very seriously. He told me to build houses, I built them. He said stop the suffering between the taxi and livery drivers. What did I do? I opened the gate for them. Now we have to fix the energy sector. And that's my priority. The one thing I will not allow anyone to do is distract this government from fixing the energy sector of our country.
That's right.
So when people playing games with the Bahamian people and the success of our country, I don't engage.
The Davis administration says it is proud of its record with many major accomplishments thus far, including increased investments, increased tourist arrivals, infrastructural developments on New Providence, Grand Bahama, and the Family Islands, among other major projects. And finally, in this segment, this week, police have charged 2 men in connection with recent murders. On Tuesday, Delroy Wright, 51 years old, of Homestead Street, appeared before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley, charged with the July 30th murder of his former girlfriend, 33-year-old Teresa Knowles. Police prosecutors say Wright beat Knowles to death at his home on Homestead Street. It's a dead-end corner just off Lincoln Boulevard. Family members on the scene of the murder suggested at the time that the matter was a domestic violence incident. Police at the time could not determine the cause of death. The victim's juvenile son was also on the scene of the murder. Wright, who did not have a lawyer, was not required to enter a plea to the charge. Bail was denied, and the matter was adjourned to December 5th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. Knowles' death was the 75th recorded for the year. Also on Tuesday, 30-year-old Andre Thompson was accused of providing assistance to the men who killed 21-year-old Brendan Adley on July 26. Thompson faces a charge of abetment to murder. Adley was chased down and shot on Eden Street, just off Farrington Road, after he tried to escape from two gunmen who blocked the car that he was traveling in with his brother. Thompson was not required to plead to the charge. He will return to court later this year for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. The prosecutor objected to bail for Thompson as he was previously convicted being involved with firearms. Thompson, or Adley rather, was the 74th murder victim for the year. He had another brother who was shot and killed in a similar fashion 2 months earlier in the Bainstown community. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.